I'm about as real as they come.
All my beats tailored by Joe. House Digital.
Maserati Rick in Detroit, convertible bird in Miami. Graduated summa cum laude, strip club made a tsunami. Carlton Hines with the ball game, Grateful Edmonds with the snowflakes, Craig Pettis in the M-Town, Sal Magluta with the boat game, Falcone with the cocaine, like Freeway Ricky with the plug game, like Monster Cody in South Central, Larry Davis from close range.
Harlem, part of it caught on surveillance video. The NYPD says it's part of an ugly series of possible turf battles, and Eyewitness News got exclusive access to how police crack the case. Eyewitness News reporter Kimberly Richardson has more.
I heard it upstairs, but I didn't know what happened. The cop was like, "You can't come this way." I could get hit by a bullet.
A fear that's been part of Simone's world for more than 2 decades.
When I was younger, there were shootings at night and in the day where I had to literally drop down on my stomach in my house just so I wouldn't get shot because I live on the lower floor.
She lives here in the Jefferson houses in East Harlem, where turf wars with nearby NYCHA housing complexes have long been part of the fabric of this community. Case in point, take a look at this exclusive surveillance video. A 16-year-old opened fire shooting 3 young men March 18th, but within 24 hours, an arrest. The key component, neighborhood coordination officers, or NCOs.
You're like that small-time sheriff.
Captain Amir Yakatali is the commanding officer of PSA 5. This is part of his patrol area.
Sometimes the community is less able to come forward and speak to the police, but they're able to reach out to the NCOs and give the information that was key to close out the investigation.
That expertise, Deputy Chief Martine Matarazzo tells me it's changing the way the department operates. NCOs initially spotted the suspect in that video and retraced his steps back to the Wagner houses, a rival complex.
It's so much easier with sharing information. We're able to get that word out that we need information for whatever is a crime, a missing child. And this way, those officers right away, oh, I know who that is. I'm going to go over to that block.
Simone tells me a welcome change in her backyard.
We don't want violence and stuff happening here. We want to, be safe, just go to school and just have a good life and a good education.
16-year-old Joanne Tavares is here at Harlem Hospital suffering from a gunshot wound to the head. Several of his relatives are here at the hospital, distraught, hoping he pulls through. Relatives and friends tell us the teenager who was shot in the head Friday evening in front of the Thomas Jefferson houses in Harlem is 16-year-old Joanne Tavares. What we were told is eerily familiar, downright frustrating. Some undisclosed beef that ended with senseless gun violence and a gathering in front of the emergency room. This woman, who did not want her face on camera because she says she still has to live here.
Distraught, 16-year-old life possibly being taken from a gun again in the projects.
When you say again, what do you mean?
I mean, we live in Jefferson Projects. There's a shooting and a homicide probably every other day.
Friends tell us Jawan lives uptown, and he announced his arrival in Harlem on Facebook not long before someone shot him. There were no immediate arrests, although there were witnesses, chatter about who pulled the trigger, and bewilderment that something like this has happened again. Community activist Clark Pena showed us this video of police activity immediately after the shooting.
Like sick and tired of becoming sick and tired. We come together, we go to meetings, and we have protests, and we have candlelight vigils, and nothing seems to really get resolved.
Is there official surveillance video of the shooting? Perhaps. That's a legitimate question, given the New York City Housing Authority's sprawling security camera network. But in an unexpected wrinkle to this already tragic story, residents tell us, in their opinion, much of the crime that takes place here Shootings, robberies, you name it, are not captured by many of those cameras because they're blocked by scaffolding that's been up for years, apparently for no reason.
The police can't even see anything because the scaffolding is covering the cameras, and this is why it just continues. There's nothing else I could really say at this point because it's just becoming disgusting.
Residents who we spoke with while working this story say they have a pretty good idea of who pulled the trigger, but they won't say anything more. Police, so far, have no arrests. In Harlem, Jay Dow, Pix 11 News.
2016, East Harlem. 16-year-old Juwan Tavares, who was known as Chico, was shot in the head. It was broad daylight.
Like sick and tired of becoming sick and tired.
Prosecutors say Chico's murder in 2016 set off a violent gang war for retaliation. Some of his friends allegedly formed the Chico gang inside the Wagner houses in East Harlem. According to a new indictment, for nearly 3 years, the Chico gang tried to kill rival gang members who live in the nearby Jefferson houses. Chico was walking past the Jefferson houses on his way to the store when he was gunned down. The NYPD recently moved in on the Chico crew.
Saw like maybe 8 vans, and they have on their like vests and batons and like guns.
Today, the Manhattan District Attorney announced criminal charges against 12 members of the Chico gang. Prosecutors say they're responsible for 17 shootings, including one near a playground. Attorney Gary Coos represents one of the men swept up in the gang bust. Lamar Ware was charged with attempted murder.
We've entered a plea of not guilty, and we'll be filing motions.
Ware's mother was upset after his arraignment.
It's wrong to keep having these indictments on these different projects with these young people. If anything, y'all should try to help them.
12 members of the Chico gang now have cases in criminal court, from conspiracy to commit murder to gang assault. The defendants arraigned in court today all entered pleas of not guilty.
Any gang that raises its head in New York City will be dealt with.
For the last 30 years, Charlene has called the Wagner houses home. She says now she can see and feel the NYPD's push to stomp out gangs in her community.
I feel like he's getting safer.
The takedown of the Chico gang is not over yet because the DA tells us they are still searching for 2 more suspects. Reporting live from the Wagner houses in East Harlem tonight, Ayana Harry, Pix 11 News.
Yo, we back. It's your boy Popalot. Mobb ties. We on our way to NYC with it. Harlem. East Harlem. Wagner houses to be exact. But we gonna swing over to Thomas Jefferson houses. Get shit shaking over there. So anybody from Wagner, if you ever lived in Wagner, if you presently live in Wagner, y'all get in the comment box. Anybody from Thomas Jefferson, if you currently live there, y'all definitely get in the comment box. We got a lot to talk about. Now, before we get into the details of this story, I want to say, and this is just me personally, not caring what nobody else think. Me, I'm going to stand on it. I think this story details everything that's wrong and everything that's right with society. And I'm going to go on to try to explain that a little bit more to y'all. Now, the group of gentlemen we're going to be covering today, or the organization we're going to be covering today, or the gang we're going to be covering today is going to be the Chico gang. And like I said, they're going to be based out of Wagner houses. And 12 is pretty much going to be 12 individuals. But we're really not going to get into names with this because I don't want to say that's the small part about it. Might talk a little bit. I got something to say about one of the members, or to get into detail with that. But other than that, it's just going to be a whole of just how this formed and the ongoing situation. And I really want y'all dialogue to see, not even if you from there, because from my knowledge, this same situation is going on in almost every ghetto or every neighborhood worldwide due to the vicinity, due to the close proximity, and it's just a lot of stuff just packed in. So before I go any further, the organization we're going to be covering, like I said, is going to be the Chico gang. And the Chico gang, based on my research, and I try to do as much research on the history of this gang as possible, it looks like the gang was formed in 2016 after the murder of a guy or a young man, a 16-year-old by the name of Jawan Tavares, RIP Jawan Tavares. Our condolences go out to your family, the whole Mobb ties. He had a whole life to live. But from what the authorities said, the gang was formed after the death of Jawan, who was killed outside of the Thomas Jefferson houses, which authorities said started an ongoing feud between Wagner and Thomas Jefferson, which makes me want to think, I wonder if something was going on deeper than that. That's why I try to do my research. So that's why I need my people from Wagner to tap in. I need my niggas from Thomas Jefferson to tap in, because streets need to know. But according to authorities, that sparked an ongoing feud between the two housing projects, which resulted in who knows how many shootings. But according to authorities that apprehended the Chico gang, they're going to say they carried out 17 shootings just as a revenge for Jawan's murder. And the newspaper is going to say Jawan was an associate of said gang. I seen online where they said they was beefing with another gang and it wasn't First Project, but it pretty much turned into that, because let me explain to you this situation. If I live in Versace projects and we have some niggas that's a gang, that's doing a thing, that's hustling, that's getting money, and then they have some guys over at Gucci projects. We get to the club, them niggas get into a scuffle. I'm not down with the niggas from Versace projects. I'm just out here. I'm just doing my thing out here. But when you go out and about in the city, when it's time or you get in a situation where you have to present the where you're from question, or what's going on with this, or it's a lot of ways you cross paths, or I heard he's from Versace projects, the niggas from Gucci projects automatically think that, yo, he down with the Versace boys, he with the shit, we going to such. So that's usually how that kind of grows, and that usually makes the gang spread. But by all accounts, it's like it was Wagner houses versus Thomas Jefferson houses, and the death of Jawan Tavares pretty much sparked an ongoing war with teenagers, and they were pretty much online going back and forth. Like you saw in the video, they said Chico posted that he was in Harlem after he was killed. It was said that a member of the gang, or alleged member of the gang by the name of Eric Garcia or Rick Bricks, posted, "They killed my little homie Chico. That's why we keep them Rugers wherever we go. When we see a op, that's when we blow." And I want to say kind of that's a little bit kind of what's wrong, because yeah, the violence in that, and that's total, that's, you know, there's no way to really kind of condone that no matter what went on. Certain situations, yeah, I'm turning my head the other way. You murder somebody's mom, you almost, and that's just a long list. It don't stop with that, man. You almost spit on somebody. It's like, I almost got to turn my head on that shit. But senseless murders, which is what's going on in a lot of the neighborhoods, and murder is a sin, but it's like some of these communities, and I lived in some of them, and I definitely been to some of them, I frequent some of them, and I covered a lot of them, that it's just a tool for survival. And before I kind of hop off of this episode, I really want to say that some situations, people don't live to kill, they kill to live. And y'all let that sink in. Y'all make sure y'all follow me on Instagram, on Twitter. It's your boy Popalot, POP_A_LOT. Again, RIP to Jawan Tavares. We gonna be back with some more of this real trill spill shit. And y'all know what it is. It's the mob. Mob. Ties.